business goals of your client, for example, and you figure out what the business goals are, and then you work from there. And you do it incrementally, you do it in small baby steps, one thing at a time, and you find out what works. And if it doesn't work, you refine it until it does. If it's still not working, you try something else. There are no, this is a new playing field. There are no set rules. Why, if I do this, I will have that result. This is too new. We're making the rules up as we go along. And so there are no do X and Y will be the outcome. You've got to try all sorts of different things. If it doesn't work, you try it, you tweak it, you try something else, and eventually something will resonate. You just have to keep trying.
Morning. Thank you all. A question for a client looking to recruit someone in this space or to engage a consultant. 3 key elements to look for each.
What's their digital footprint like? If you Google them and they've tweeted twice, for example, or they don't have a LinkedIn account, and you want them to be a social media consultant, that would ring alarm bells for me. So do your Googling.
But look, I totally agree. It's see their footprint. Have a look at their the material. If what they're saying online, if what they're saying about themselves is disrespectful, then you don't want to have anything to do with it. And that's not what they say in the words of their blog posts or their Twitter, whatever. But if they're disrespectful in terms of how they interact with their community, then you don't want to have anything to do with them.
I think there's a need to understand what the specific service proposition is as well, depending on what you're after. We're here at Marketing Week, so we're probably focusing a lot on social media marketing as a core skill set, which is what Michelle and Lee particularly focus on, I guess. What we do is a bit different to that. It's because we work for government agencies. It's actually, I come from a community engagement background, which is about face-to-face engagement around public policy development. So it's a different core competency. So I'd just say that whatever your client's need is, you need to articulate that really clearly, obviously, before leading down the path of finding somebody who just happens to have a Twitter account or whatever. There are thousands of people out there now who would claim to be social media gurus, and none of us, all of us have learned on the run, because there hasn't been enough time yet for there to be training in this sort of stuff. We've all had to learn on the run. I know that when I first got a Twitter account, I did it just because I had to, because I thought I'm in this realm. I need to know how to use this stupid tool, and I thought it was rubbish when I started. It's taken me probably 18 months to find my purpose for that tool, and now I think it's fantastic and I really enjoy myself on there. But when I first started, I was really, really skeptical about the whole thing. So one tip you said about keeping up with what's going on. If there's anybody in the room who's on Twitter, and probably more from a government point of view, if you follow somebody called @participatory, he's an Italian PhD student who publishes the best tweets about content I've ever seen. He's my personal researcher, basically. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to go to a library or do any online searching, because he just sends out a stream of really good quality stuff all the time. I'll tweet him later on at participatory. Very, very useful. Are you getting questions?
We are getting questions. So question, how do you use social media to sell stuff and to get noticed by traditional media such as TV and newspapers, etc.?
Look, any real estate agents in the room? No one's admitting to it. It's a challenge. You can't use social media to sell stuff. What you can use social media for is engaging with other communities. It's difficult to try and sell stuff. If you're trying to get column inches for a client by using social media to get column inches or to get airtime on Channel 7, it's really difficult. It's not the tool for it. It's the tool for engaging with your stakeholders, not with trying to get more media.
I'd say you use it for brand building rather than selling. anybody that follows you on Twitter that's trying to sell you something, I pretty much inevitably ban, because that's not what it's there for. It's about brand building. Who are you as an organisation? What are you all about? And how real are you? That's where. And if you go out there and just say, you know, this is only $5 today, then that's not what the space is all about at all. So don't try it.
I mean, it does work. I've got a client that does, have a special of the day or something, or they give away something of the day. And that's not to say that Twitter doesn't work for that particular thing, but it's a particular community that they're engaging with that is passionate about the particular product that they have. And so they're really pleased when something's discounted or they can get something for free. But in the majority of cases, don't use social media as a selling mechanism. It's not designed as a selling mechanism. It's designed for communication.
We've got a question.
Yeah, for those of us just embarking on a social strategy, what tools would you recommend? You say there's a plethora of tools out there. For those of us just looking to find out who's talking about us and where, what tools would you recommend to kick off?
Who's talking about you and where?
So just monitoring.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to set up Google Alerts first. It's just the no-brainer. But there's a lot of free tools. Social mentions, not bad. Just socialmention.com. Type in your name as you would in Google, and that goes a live search. And there's a few other ones that do the same thing.
Just search for your name, your organisation name on Facebook, and search for your organisation name in Twitter as well.
Yeah, search.twitter.com. And there's an advanced search there. You can drill down to geographic location, timing, and all sorts. So if you hear from a colleague, for example, that we were tweeted about last week, and it was someone in Melbourne, well, you can try to drill down on Twitter to find that too. So that's really handy. And that new one I mentioned a while ago with the city name Bushaka, that searches on Facebook status updates. And a lot of those updates that would normally be locked to you because you're not someone's friend, and can be opened up on Bushaka, depending on your privacy settings.
I might pose a question if that's not too short. You talked about Facebook and you've mentioned Foursquare. I think most people, when they think of social media, the first thing they think of is Facebook. What other mediums would you recommend if you've already engaged in Facebook and you're sort of at that point where you want to take the next step? Where to from there?
Depends if it's for you as an individual, whether it's for a client of yours. If it's for you as a communications professional, if you're not on LinkedIn, then you need to shoot yourself. If it's for a client, then not necessarily worth them being on LinkedIn, although if they're a large employer, then it's certainly worth setting up an employer's page on LinkedIn so potential employees can find out more about the company. But certainly LinkedIn is definitely something. I mean, one of the things that I do a lot of lectures, guest lectures at the uni, presenting to final year undergraduates through the School of Communication. One of the things I try to point out to them is that unless they are creating their own digital footprint, they are just vanilla communicators. And the same applies to you as seasoned professionals. Unless you are actually out there creating a profile for yourself, this is brand you. This is not for anyone else, this is just for you as pros in the room here. But unless you're creating your own profile, your own brand you will be passed over for someone else who's already got that profile. No matter how good your portfolio is, if you can't show that you can communicate by whatever channel you're most comfortable with communicating, if you can't show that you can communicate, if you can't show that you can hold a logical argument and argue your point through a blog post or a vidcast or a podcast, if you can't show those skills, then how can you represent other people? So I would behoove on you to think seriously about starting your own blog or your own video blog or your own podcast, doing something, get engaged some way yourself in social media. Not only will that help you then advise your clients more appropriately, but also it will position you above your competition for the next role you may be going for. Soapbox. Take it down.
Any other questions from the floor?
Don't be shy.
Oh, come on. Let me see if
Yeah.
We've got one open mic.